That half-second thunk of a luxury car door latching shut is a precision-engineered sound designed to communicate a sense of safety. When you lift the lid off a premium smartphone box, the 15-second glide is the result of air resistance tuned to a fraction of a millimeter. Materials like leather or brass develop a beautiful patina over 10 years, while cheaper composites simply degrade into waste. Even the distinct new car smell is really just an engineered exhaust of the interior material palette, chosen for its emotional register. We experience these sensory moments as spontaneous facts of nature, but every one of them is an authored experience. Consumers generally assume the emotional register of an object, how it sounds, feels, or smells, is a final layer of polish applied at the end of the line. Color drives up to 90% of Snap product judgments, yet it is too often treated like a coat of paint bolted onto a frozen form at the very last minute. By the time a user finally touches a product, its underlying design is already ancient history. The invisible concept phase is the true author of these experiences. This is where the defaults are permanently locked in. The entire physical world exists as the delayed, inevitable echo of choices made years before a prototype was ever built. To understand the origin of these echoes, we have to look past the finished surface and into the mathematical realm of early design. When manufacturing plastic, a designer isn't actually shaping the part itself. They are designing the rigid constraints of the steel mold that will forge it. The faint seam line found on almost any plastic object is a permanent confession of that original mold geometry. This principle applies to footwear as well. Every shoe is built around a last, an invisible, foot-shaped block that the customer never sees. This unseen foundation dictates whether the shoe fits and performs, regardless of the materials layered on top. In car design, this invisible constraint takes the form of the drag coefficient. Aerodynamic realities shape the silhouette of the Mercedes EQS long before any styling is applied. The wind designs the car. Every visible surface remains bound to a hidden structural geometry established in the first weeks of a project. Characteristics like a vehicle's weight are mathematical realities locked in before the first line is drawn. You cannot simply add lightness at the end. Product repairability is a values decision coded into the physical joinery of the parts, long before a service manual is ever written. Ergonomics must accommodate a range of body types because the average user, measured in 1950, does not actually exist. Even the sequence of time is authored here, specifically the choreographed 15-second tempo of a premium unboxing experience. Everything a user eventually feels, hears, or repairs is a deliberate concept phase decision that cannot be reverse-engineered later. Industrial design is an unforgiving discipline. If the foundational geometry is flawed, surface-level fixes are useless. A fundamentally bad shoe last cannot be saved by a beautiful upper. Likewise, a massive touchscreen is often just a bandage for skipping difficult interface decisions early in the process. This is why the billion-dollar auto industry still relies on hand-sculpting full-size clay models. You cannot fake the sun. Certain form decisions can only be judged by how real light hits a real object in physical space. The physical world brutally exposes the weaknesses of a digital concept, which means you must see every true angle before tooling begins. There is immense gravity in finalizing a design for mass manufacturing. These decisions are as cheap as a sketch in the beginning, but they become permanent the moment the steel is cut. Design intelligence requires recognizing the absolute permanence of these early conceptual choices. To prevent billion-dollar manufacturing mistakes, designers need software that honors the physical truth of light and shadow before the first prototype is ever built. Depix provides the digital environment where these invisible decisions are mastered.